Brook,
Yes.
another show without Shaun in the studio.
Forgiven.
Well, he's just creating a bit of history. So can we forgive? Would we call the history he's creating rugby league history, or
is he on the right side of history?
Or trying to pull the trigger in fantasy basketball history? That's the trade we'll have to.
So he's just pointing fingers in fantasy right now. That's all he's doing.
Imagine being 0-2. Here we go. Let's get into the show.
Play On, in partnership with BNZ.
Play on. Lamborghini. Look out for speed! Shaun Johnson. Ruben Aguero. Bang! It's over. Pass is intercepted at the goal line. In your life have you seen anything like that? Elliott hits it over the grandstand, and New Zealand are in the World Cup final.
Welcome back, family, to another week of Play On. It is so good to see Shaun have to just bite his tongue there for a second. And a little bit longer there, my mate. A little bit longer. Shaun is in Sydney right now, joining us on the show. Matua, Marc, my OG. To the right, it is the Play On Sports Show brought to you by BNZ or BNZ. It's in the game. No, that was dry. And YOUKNOWMEDIA, shout out to them. Heineken and Frank Energy too. Heineken Silver. Shout out to everybody who's helping us sponsor the show.
Yes, and a special shout out to Ortex Acoustic. Beautiful acoustic solutions for spaces where people live, work, and learn. And that is what you see in our background. That's why we don't echo all the time. But yeah, thank you so much to Ortex Acoustic.
You know, I feel like we're official when you have to do that podcast thing. You know, at the start when they shout out everybody who's the sponsors. I feel like, guys, we must be official right now. OG. Good. Shaun, how are you, brother?
Oh, I can talk now? Yeah, I'm good to chime in.
Get in here.
I have to sit through no more nonsense.
Get in here. In Sydney.
That was hard to listen to, fellas. I'm not going to lie. But no, I'm all good, boys. I'm all good. Yeah, we got into Sydney earlier this week. So, yeah, just enjoying my time over here. How are the brothers? How are you guys going? Actually, Brook, I don't want to know how you're going. Matua, talk to me.
Yeah, fair.
Obviously, a big weekend for yourself. I want to know, bro. How did you pull up after that run?
The half marathon, yeah, the first time I've decided to, look, I'll be the first to admit, I hate running. And the amount of people who chat about the runner's high, still haven't felt it, didn't feel it through the training. All I felt was pain and then absolutely hated the run. But you know what I have realized is I may be hooked. I may want to go for another really, really long run. That's without even feeling any joy. I think just the achievement of just crossing the line was enough for me to go, you know what? Maybe I can do this.
Are you thinking the full?
I'm not. Well, hey.
Just chuck some things out there. You thinking the full?
No, definitely not a full. Not at this stage anyway. But I really enjoyed it. It was painful, and the day after, and the day after that, and still the day, it still hurts. So the calves, the legs, everything just absolutely famished. It was good fun.
Well done, brother. Well done,
along with many others. It was a record amount of people who did the Auckland Marathon. The most that's ever signed up to do it, and the most that have ever completed it in the history of the Auckland Marathon. So obviously running's trending, maybe.
Any brown people do it?
Heaps. That was the thing. Yeah. Heaps of people. It was every race. It was every person. Everyone got down there and enjoyed themselves. So. Yeah, that was my Sunday. And how was your Saturday night?
Hey, we'll get to it.
Yeah. You know what? I will say, waking up Sunday morning and watching your stories, Matua, they made me feel a whole heap better about my life.
Touche.
Bro, while we have you, can we do a room raiders? What's going on in the room, bro? What do you travel with? What's one thing that Shaun Johnson, in his final, actually, Marc, we've said that before, potentially his final game coming up, your final road trip, what's one thing that you always travel with?
Well, no, like it's just your real stock standard stuff. There's actually nothing too exciting here, boys, if I'm being honest. Like, you've just got your team kit. Sorry, I'm just having a look through my bag here. You've just got your team kit. You know, you've got your basic casual clothes. Like,
what boots you playing in this weekend?
I don't really have anything too exciting. You know, we get our our team kit from the week before. So this is the jersey I wore against Tonga.
Ooh.
So you can see that bad boy.
Couldn't even give that away now, could you?
Yeah, this will probably leave and go to someone else's hands. You know, I don't really need to hold on to this one. But yeah, just like bits and pieces. You know, I'm sure someone would appreciate that, right? So,
and where do they put you up? Like, out of curiosity, like where do they?
Hey, Marc, we can't be asking that. No. They're gonna be knocking at the door.
Here's the thing.
Nah, I don't think no one's going to come knocking on our door. So we're just up in Brighton, which is sort of like not too much is doing here, but we're sort of 15 minutes to the city. The boys, sort of get out and about on your days off. There's enough close by to sort of get us through the week,
Out of curiosity, where your camera is put right now, could you put it straight back where it is? Can you give us like a quick room tour, like what where
you
the
know
Kiwis
what?
would say?
Let's try this. Okay, so let's just see where that's sitting. Okay, so boys, all right, so we got TV on the wall behind us.
That's a big TV.
Nice.
Yeah, we got a balcony out here.
Oh,
Look at that.
wow.
A bit of a view. So 2 beds. So you always have a roommate. Well, a lot of times you have a roommate. So double bedroom. This is quite common.
Who are you rooming with?
So my roomie's Kieran Foran.
Cobb.
Cobb. We call him Cobb. So this is quite fascinating because Boz and I first roomed together over 10 years ago, and now we've come back and we get to finish. I get to finish my last sort of tour with the man I started it all with. So.
What time is bedtime for you guys?
Nothing too exciting.
Imagine when you guys roomed for the very first time, it was 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Now I think, Dad's on tour, 8:30, lights out. I'll see you in the morning.
It's very much like that. It just says, all right, Cole, I'm out, mate. Yep, night, mate.
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah, that's so, you just don't ever get that inside, eh? So, and why would you ever call a teammate Cog, out of curiosity?
Because he's a cog in the machine, He keeps that machine rolling.
Cobber.
It's Cobber, mate. Come on.
Cobber. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. He's grown up an old school way, old Kieran Foran. He grew up with some of the all-time greats, and that's what he used to get called.
Cobb.
It's just stuck. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, let's get into the show then, starting off with our usual fifth and last. And let's kick it off with the Black Caps. The Black Caps have become the first team in cricket history to whitewash India in India Test match cricket, winning the 3rd Test and the series 3-0 on Tuesday. Boys, beating India in India, the home of cricket, the home of Test cricket especially. I'm sure the English will have something to say about that in Lords. But it's phenomenal. What would be the equivalent, do you reckon? What is another sporting equivalent to beating India in India in a whitewash? 3 tests to 0. What do you reckon is the mecca? What are you doing? Who are you beating and where you're beating them and how? For me, it'd be like beating, I don't know, maybe the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden 7 games in a row, or you would need 7, but in an NBA final.
Everyone does that,
Everyone
beats the Knicks. I would say like Team USA, going to USA, beating Team USA with the actual squad, the Olympic squad, the Avengers squad that they had. I would have to say it's somewhere in that ballpark, in that vicinity. This is unprecedented stuff.
The sweep element of it is just ridiculous to sort of fathom. We were giving them a round of applause last week for picking up the series win.
Yeah.
So the drive that India would have just to avoid the sweep would have been at the top of their very list. So to be able to go out there and get that 3rd one, I view it like someone coming down and playing the All Blacks in New Zealand. That's how I sort of view it. Are we the sort of home of rugby?
We would be.
We are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's the perfect comparison, and the fact that we do lose. Like India does lose Test matches, but and the All Blacks do. But a sweep. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, very impressive.
Very impressive. Speaking of the All Blacks have survived to take out the first Test match of their Northern Tour, 24-22. In a few moments, where staying in it proved to be the difference. Boys, that game on, Sunday morning, I know we were getting ready, like a lot of Auckland marathonists were all getting ready to go on the marathon. You could watch the first half before you jumped on the ferry, and everyone was watching on their phones. What a game, a cliffhanger, and proof that, there's something about this team. There's something about not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, Shaun, about just sticking true to about what could and can come of just staying in it, and those boys proved it on Sunday morning.
Yeah, I want to give D-Mac, bro. D-Mac, that kick,
play on.
Play on that. And again, staying with it. He has copped it, he rides the wins, the losses. He's in the media, he gets pumped, he shouldn't be the 10, he shouldn't be this, he should be up. Whatever it is, to be able to deal with that and come up with a moment like that to ice a Test match at Twickenham, in front of the fans, and the English fans are so loud, they're so passionate. It is a hostile environment to play in front of. So to see him come up with that slot of a beautifully struck ball from the sideline.
Yeah,
Marc off ridiculous. He has to be the best winger in the world by far.
The man is half eel. He is half eel. No one can grab him.
It's ridiculous.
He's slippery, bro.
Doesn't need much room. So unreal. Well done, boys. Well done.
Wallace Atiti's for me.
Yeah.
This kid is he is something special. And obviously, going into this All Black campaign at the start, there was question marks around him. I don't think there's one question mark around him at all. He's playing out of position. Didn't play that much for the Chiefs. This kid is next.
Yeah.
This kid is now. This kid is him. He is an absolute problem. I hope we can keep him around these ways for as long as we can. And if he leaves, let's change these rules up. Let's get Richie back. Let's get Wallace Atiti back. I don't know what we need to do, but he is an absolute problem. I like the haka. I did like the haka because there was that confrontation at the start. Or, it's not even a confrontation, but there was something
accepted the
different.
challenge.
There was a challenge that was accepted. I like that from the start. The tone kind of felt like it was set from the jump. I was screaming. I was like, not drop goals again. It's back-to-back. I don't want 2 drop goals getting us. But thankfully, we got that win. And I imagine Razor, he slept a lot easier that night.
I just want to touch on the idea behind Wallace Atiti and how his ball carrying has now become one of the major features of the All Blacks. Like, he's playing alongside Ardie Savea, who was our renowned carrying forward. He was the one that kept the legs pumping. I noticed that Ardie didn't carry the ball as much, that Wallace Atiti seems to have taken the brunt now of our main ball carrier. And they set these pods, right? They set them up, and you do have a primary ball carrier, and you get selected to be that primary ball carrier. I think I'm under no illusion that they have found their next big ball carrier, that this will leave more tread on the tyres for Ardie Savea to stay in the jersey longer. I think there's a real plan, a definite effort too. And someone else who's been carrying the ball incredibly well, Big Paddy.
Oh, shout out to
Bro,
Skip.
He has been carrying the ball like a beast, and that to me seems that this is the evolution of this All Black side. They've got these youthful ball carriers who can now take some of the load off these players who have been doing it for years and years and years. And Ardie can focus now more on turnover ball, on tackle ball, on being there to support, and being the guy who jackals when the ball carrier goes down early. These are the things that he can do, which will help him last. His body will last longer if he has that.
Shout out to Paddy, man. Shout out to Paddy as well.
I'm stoked he's starting to get his flowers now, Brook, and you can adhere to this. Matua, we were up at New Year's, up at our place up at Mangawhai, and we jumped in the backyard, and we were actually trying to make a tackle on Big Paddy, and we couldn't do it. So it's just nice to see the rest of the world is starting to feel what we felt that night. Hey, Brook?
He's a big boy. He's a gentle giant, but I'm with Shaun. I'm so glad to see he's hooping at the moment.
I'm just so glad that I have the mental picture of you boys all just wearing, small shorts out at the beach and all trying to grease each other. Tackle.
Funny thing, Marc, it was about 11 o'clock at night.
So no shorts.
You can imagine Brook was that kid that hangs onto one leg and just gets dragged along the grass.
Yeah.
Shaun, you ain't lying. Mine for today, I just thought, well, you know what? We got Shaun in the building. Let's talk to him. Shaun, Fox League. Just for anyone who doesn't know about Fox League, can you kind of tell them how big Fox League is in Australia and New Zealand?
Well, it's the #1 media outlet in terms of league coverage, I'd say.
Yeah, we'll say it's the pinnacle. Fletch and Hein, I'm a big fan of these guys. Brian Fletcher is his full name. Anyway, the article that I was reading, it said, Shaun Johnson, that's you. If you're a rugby club, you're knocking on his door, aren't you? Aren't you offering him whatever he wants? Goes on to say, would you do this? Here, Shaun, all I need from you is 12 games a year. If a team came and knocking, and it's obviously not going to be the Warriors, is there any number in terms of salary or X amount of games that you would have to play that this could be an option?
Oh, man. That's probably the one thing that, coming back and playing this series, it's like all I've been asked now is, bro, so are you a chance? Are you coming out of retirement? I'm like, no.
Zero chance.
No. Zero chance, Brook. Zero chance. And can I just clear this up for the
Well,
record?
there was zero chance you play Kiwis.
I don't love the game. It's not because I'm done with all this and I don't feel like I can do it. It's because I actually am excited for what can happen next, what I can create next. I'm ready for it. So, but I mean, if a club came out with me 1.2 to play,
now we don't give a fuck.
Now we're talking about it. But mate, I'm happily retired after this weekend's game. Happily.
Right, I love that. You know what I think, though?
But
very often it's the other way around. Very often it's the fans and the other clubs who are saying, dude, hang it up. It's the other way around in this instance. They can really see the promise. They've seen you play against Australia. They've seen you play against Tonga. They can see that there's still, that you could, in their opinion, still go if you chose to do it, which is the right way around. It's the best way around, right? You don't want it the other way where they're like, come on, man, hang them up.
What about this? Could you code switch? Like an NPC or a Super Rugby,
nah.
Just really try your arm.
Nah, see that's you gotta respect the codes.
Okay,
You know,
fair
them
enough.
boys
Yeah,
are
just
they're,
right, just
they're
right.
young, they're hungry, they're all trying to get to the All Blacks. But I will say, Martel, to your point, like that, I am very proud of that. And there are still some people that think, oh, he should have stayed in retirement. Like I've offered nothing this series. You know, like I see it, I get tagged in it. I've seen it this week, even following the Tonga game. So it's like. It's not everyone thinks how we're thinking or feels what we're feeling, but I am proud that, you know, like it has been completely on my terms, and I've always been passionate about that. I just never wanted to be that player that overstayed, you know, and should have hung him up. Yeah. So, but my one this week, quickly, I just want to touch on the Breakers.
Bro,
they're on it. Yeah, they're ticking along nicely. I just want to read something out because they played Melbourne. I think it was last night, earlier in the week when the show comes out. But they hadn't won in Melbourne. I think it was since 2018. So Melbourne United, they're a pretty staple team. You know,
they're the team. That would be like the Crusaders or the Panthers.
Yeah,
they're the team you want to go and beat.
Here, let's just read this out quickly. So it was the 8th highest score in a 40-minute era. It was the 5th biggest win in Breakers franchise history. It was the biggest win ever over Melbourne United. And yeah, like I said, it was their first win in John Cain Centre since 2018. So I just want to give a quick shout out to the Breakers. Mooney is an absolute hooper.
Yeah, they need to
shoot the lights out.
Take one of those O's out. That man is money.
I saw that firsthand at Spark Arena a few weeks back. So I've been following him, and yeah, the boys are ticking along. I think they're 6-2 as we record this show. So up the Breakers.
Yeah, they're top of the table right now. I'll be honest with you. I thought that they would be dead last this year. I thought, I didn't give them a chance. They got a brand new squad. They got a brand new coach. I think 2 of the players are back from last year. Coaching staff is a pretty new coaching staff as well. But they have impressed from the jump. They shoot the ball well. They were down 2 players against Melbourne. 2 of their starters, they were down. One of their bench guys didn't play as well. So they were undermanned. They came out. This is one of those ones where they go, okay, yeah, no, this Breakers team means the real deal. They mean business this year because you can go and beat a Penrith and put 20 or 30 on them. You can beat Crusaders at home, put 20 or 30 on them. That's basically what they just did. Yeah, they got themselves a squad this year. They're going to be all right.
Brook, I want to give you that lob just one more time because I thought it was a great bar. And I don't think Shaun heard it, but Mooney can shoot the lights out.
Oh, brother, you got to take that O out of it. That man is money.
Huh?
Come on now. Come on, brother.
I'm so glad you got that. We got to do that. That was so good. And finally, because of course we did miss story number 3, because we're going to hit story number 3 in a bit more depth later on. That
sorry.
was being the
My
Kiwis.
bad.
You jumped straight over the top, but that was the
bad.
Kiwis lost to Tonga, but we can talk about that a little bit later on.
Yeah, we don't need to touch on that right now.
The final story. This is brought to you by Heineken Silver. Low carb, smooth delivery of the week, and the award goes to Auckland FC. They brought the billboard out the front of Sky Stadium. And seconds after the final whistle blew, you would have seen the pictures on social. Welcome to Allington. That's what it said. Allington. In brackets. And then underneath, we took the W back to Auckland.
Wow.
As a die-hard Wellingtonian, 04 to the ain't no more, I have to commend that. That's good. That is very, very good. Well done,
That is
Auckland.
referring to the derby, the Auckland FC winning against Wellington Phoenix in the first matchup of the season. First of 3, I'm told, and the other 2 are played up in Auckland. And, of course, Auckland FC getting away, taking the chocolates 2-0 over Wellington Phoenix. And then to buy the billboard out the front and post that, man. That is a Heineken Silver.
Well done.
That is
low-carb, smooth delivery of the week. That is trolling.
We need as Phoenix, let's brainstorm. Maybe we do the exact same thing when we play Auckland. Just give them 2 L's. We'll leave another L here. Come on, Wellington, let's get rolling. We obviously have to win the game first. But Auckland FC, that was incredible. Well done.
Play on in partnership with BNZ. Play on.
All right, we kind of avoided it a little in the headlines because we did want to go a little more deeper into the Kiwis loss to Mate Tonga on Saturday night. 25-24. It was 24-6 at half-time. I'm going to be the first to hold my hand up and go, we're paying $10, so I stuck a tenner on it, thinking they could come back.
So did I.
People laughed, and the boys fought back into it. 24-all before a field goal ended it, and 25-24 was the final score, meaning that Mate Tonga and the Kangaroos will play off to see who wins the Pacific Championship. Meanwhile, the Kiwis will be playing against Papua New Guinea to see who is facing off in the top 3s when it comes to next season's tournament. So that's where we land with Shaun Johnson. One Shaun Johnson who took part in the event at Mount Smart, aka Go Media Stadium. Shaun, how does it feel now? I mean, you're a few days on, you've been with the team. What was the feeling once you came off the field?
Well, my chest is still tight thinking about it.
Yep.
Even just hearing you break it down, like it burns. But you know, like I think I said before the game, boys, that like it was always going to be like a pretty special night. Like regardless, like you just know it's going to be when you're playing Tonga, in particular in Auckland, or you know New Zealand for a matter of fact. Like their fan base and their country is so proud.
But I think all of Tonga was at the game. That was so loud, bro. I was on the shore, I could hear it.
It was wild, bro. Some of the hymns, some of the singing, some of the chants. It was like, even you're on the field, like trying to speak to your teammate, it was hard to communicate, you know, like, and it can almost feel like a little bit overwhelming at times. Like it's just like so much, but it was a really cool night to be a part of. Now, like, I'm gutted with the result. That burns like heck, but credit where credit's due, you know, like Tonga played a style where I feel like if they can start that way this weekend against Australia, they're going to really trouble them. You know, they are so hard to handle when they're running red hot like that. And,
was the style something you guys expected? Like, was it what you expected and you just couldn't stop it? Or how did that go down?
Well, yeah, it's exactly what we knew they were going to do. And it's not that we couldn't stop it, it's that we made it harder on ourselves by not controlling the things that we spoke about doing. So all week you come up with a plan and you speak about the things you want to do that pretty much just never take away the opposition strengths, but just minimizes the damage.
Mm-hmm.
So what I mean by that is what made Adam Whanua-Blake, Jace Tomololo, these boys look even better than what they already are is the amount of ball that we were just giving them. So the errors that we were making, you know, like we spoke all week about completing our sets, keeping the ball in play, putting the ball in pockets, and just really getting them into this arm wrestle and this cycle. Where the first half, bro, we gave away, I think we had 9 errors.
Yeah,
so it's like, yeah, you're taking juice out of us, but you're just pumping their tires up at the same time, you know? And then you see what they did to us, man. Like, yeah, 24 points just smacked us straight in the face. And some of their tries were just pure individual brilliance, just running harder, you know, than what we were prepared to tackle.
And sometimes you just have to call a spade, right? That first 30 minutes, that wasn't the standard that you guys can play. And then you have this, you know, this huge hole in this deficit you're trying to get back to. But just thinking to the crowd, I'm fascinated when you're talking about, you know, the crowd, and obviously they're so loud and the hymns. When you're out there, do you feel like there's that is like a 10, 12 point advantage that they have going into that game? Like, does it feel like you're at a disadvantage at the start because they are so loud? Do you know what I'm trying to say there?
No, I do. I definitely, like, in terms of an advantage, often I would say a home crowd is an advantage, but for some reason when you're got your nation's flag on your chest and you're representing your people, I feel like in particular for the Tongan culture and maybe even the Pacific Island culture, they are so connected. You know, they're a small nation. They know the impact they're having on some young Polynesian, some young Tongan, Samoan, whatever country it is, and the impact that they can have, that they do carry it with extra pride. So I feel like, yeah, that crowd for those Tonga boys in the weekend, and in particular when they had rolling and they were scoring tries and the decibels were through the roof. I definitely felt like they had an extra step in there, and they were using it. Like they were fully committed just to trying to keep that momentum, eh?
All right, that game's over now. Like, that game has over. Were you feeling like some of the fans, and I'll be the first to put my hand up and say I was a little disgruntled, not only by some of the refereeing decisions, but I mean, it just didn't. I know that that's not what you should do, but I wonder whether the players on the field get a little disheartened when certain decisions don't go their way. And how did the boys sort of, and how do you sum it all up in the locker room afterwards?
Well, I saw you having a conversation with them after the game.
What did you say?
Yeah. Well, okay, lads. Well, I've got to be a little bit careful here.
No, you're retired.
Careful here.
You're fine.
But hey, yeah, hard out. What are they going to do? But no, when I say careful, I just don't want to take any of the shine off Tonga's performance.
Absolutely.
And you know what I mean, bro? Because they were really good.
Put it on me as the disgruntled Kiwis fan that I want to take all the shine out.
Like I was okay with the refereeing throughout the game. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that happen within a game that if you're just going to sit here and just like nitpick everything, you know, like there was things that I could have controlled better. There was things that us as a team could have controlled better. Tonga would be saying same thing. You know, they probably would have felt like we got away with things, that they were hard done by in certain stages. Now, my whole issue, and I guess what the conversation you saw me having with the ref after the game, Brook, was that regardless of all of that, right? So regardless of whatever's happened in the previous 80 minutes, it came down to the wire. You know, like it came down to a field goal, and that's ultimately what split us. Now, obviously, Katoa kicks an amazing kick. He gets him up by 1 point. So now it's our turn to return serve. So we get ourselves in a position to have a crack. Now, I'll just run you through this, and this will hopefully explain, maybe, you know, clear the air and maybe what people are thinking or their opinion of me having conversations with the ref. Like, this is just what happened. This is the facts. It's when I went to kick that field goal, I had to step around the first person who came out and put kick pressure on me. And straight away, when I did that, I knew he was offside. Right. Because as a kicker, and as you put yourself at a distance, that gives yourself enough time to get a kick away. Now, obviously, him doing that made me have to adjust. Then Tamalolo got that second charge down on me. Right. Okay. Whatever, we get the ball back. Jermaine Sarko still decides to take a shot. They get 7 tackles, you know? So, like, that all happens. That's just what happened. But what we're allowed to do in that instance is challenge the play. So we're allowed to challenge, which is why we kept the challenge for the previous 79 minutes, and we decided to use our challenge right there and then. Now, I've gone up to the ref. I said, we want to challenge it. We want to challenge the offside, and then just have a look at the pressure on my legs after, because what we've seen is any pressure on kickers' legs is a penalty, regardless. Like, whether it's the right decision, that's just the rules. Okay, so I've just gone up to say that to him. But this is the bit of frustration where I was having the conversation, because I asked the ref after the game, what's the ruling? Because they didn't give it to us. And he said, you can challenge the markers not square, and you can challenge the pressure on the legs. And I said, that's what we've challenged. Now, for anyone that thinks I'm whinging and moaning here, the cold hard truth is that Ali Katoa wasn't square at marker. So we should have got a penalty. It's that black and white. Now, the ref missed it in real time. That's fine. He's human. He can't see it all. But that's why we have a challenge, bro. That's why the bunker's there. The bunker that we've spoken about a number of times throughout the year.
Nah, I'm pissed off now too, actually.
So what should have happened is that we've challenged the play. They go back and review the whole play. They go back to the play the ball. They tick the boxes along the way. You know, that's just what you do. That's standard practice. That's what happens on every other play. Whether we scored a try in the corner and the ref wanted to check the grounding, they would still go back and check the play the ball. Make sure there's not a knock on. They'll check the chaser for the kick was onside. You know, like they just go through their due diligence to make sure the play's sweet. Like, but they didn't do it, bro. They didn't even go back to the play the ball. All they looked at was the pressure on my legs. Which, by the way, I'm okay with. That shouldn't have been a penalty.
Brook, he can't do it.
Didn't take my legs out. So
he can't do it. Brook, he can't do it. But can you and I have a joint frank
Hell
energy
yeah,
moment?
bro. Frank that rematch. Frank that son of a bee. We want
a rematch. We to have
Australia wait another week.
One more week.
You're refs, you absolute dogs.
Oh.
What do we pay you all this money in the bunker for? Get it right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolute dogs.
That's all that was, boys. That was just simply like, we challenged a play. They refused to take it back and view the whole play. And if they did do that, we would have had a penalty, 10 meters out, right in front of the post. You know? Now, I will say that we've got to live with it because it changes nothing for this week. And this needs to be heard. We are playing Papua New Guinea this week. Tonga gets a chance to go lift that trophy this weekend. And, bro, I hope they do. I hope they actually win the whole thing, because that'll soften the blow of losing to them, because they played really well. But that's all that conversation was after the ref. We challenged the play. They didn't go back and look at the whole play. If they had done that, maybe we're sitting here having a different conversation.
Wow.
I'm pissed off.
I'm pissed off too, but we're going to bank that. We're just going to, you know what? And you know, can I just say as well, as miffy as I can get about Matu Tonga and the fans, the Red Sea that washes through Mount Smart Stadium, good on you guys. And maybe it's me and jealousy that we don't get to do that, and we aren't that when it comes to the Kiwi support. There's certainly some hard-outs, and I'd put myself in that category, but we don't come together like a massive wave. We don't wash on through. We're not out there celebrating with the flags on our cars. And part of me just wants to say good on the Tongan team. It's a beautiful team. It's a great team to watch. My sour feelings must pale in comparison in terms of the hurt that you go through, Shaun. But as a fan of rugby league and international rugby league, it's such an awesome movement, and they deserve to be in the finals, and all the very best. I would love to see them win as well.
I found out your nephew Windsor, Shaun, is actually he's part Tonga, so MMT baby, MMT baby. That's not even a joke too. He's actually part Tonga. Love that.
Play on in partnership with BNZ. Play on.
Boys, I had a bit of a disastrous weekend when it comes to, and it's actually been a couple weekends now when it comes to the teams that I support or my fantasy players just not living up to the expectations. Having a bit of a nightmare.
Can we talk a little fantasy just before we continue into this? Because there has been, just so everyone is aware, Play On has its own fantasy basketball league. We've got a few high-profile people involved in that league as well, including one SJ Johnson. Shaun, you had a massive clear-out of some talented players early into week 3. Can you talk us through, as a general manager of your sports team, just why you got rid of some pretty promising talent after they didn't perform? We're only 2 weeks deep in.
And don't lie now. What message did you send on the side, and what are you sending to some of these people?
Let's not do this, Brook.
I bloody knew it.
Let's not do this.
I knew it.
You two holding hands in the studio for our audience listening, okay?
Can we bank that? Let's bank it.
Bank it. We don't want to hear anymore. We don't want to hear anymore.
I would like to use my BNZ bank that moment. Thank you so much, Shaun.
Okay, then what else can I say here? So pretty much, Matua, to your point then, if we're not talking about you two in the room, I'm a cutthroat GM, and I scouted my team off potential fantasy-wise as opposed to sort of players that I actually like. Now, when you have a roster that you think's going to do well in terms of the game, like of fantasy, they better do well because I don't actually like them as players, or they're not like part of the core players I follow. Now, I'm 0-2 for our audience. I've had a tough start, right? And I just thought, you know what, enough's enough. Now's the time to make some changes because if I'm going to lose, at least I'm going to lose with players that I like.
That's not a bad strat. You know what I mean? Like, I think there'll be a lot of people who play fantasy who agree with you. It's okay to lose games with players who you love, rather than scrape by or possibly win with a whole lot of stats players. You got to like your
so
team.
Pretty much.
So what'd you do, Marc?
All I did was I put Lively from Dallas up, I put Zach Levine up, and I put Sengun from the Rockets up. Now, they all three were touted to be decent fantasy players, and don't get me wrong, they probably will be, and I'm happy if they go pop off and whatever. But in return, I got KD. Now, I was the laughing stock of the chat. I was daylight robbery to some people, and I'm okay with that. Laugh all you want, but at least I've got Kevin Durant. Like, I've got KD.
And you got Luka.
Yeah, you got a good team.
Oh, Luka, yeah, Luka's there too. You're right, Luka's there too. So my team right now, currently heading into week 3 of fantasy, I've got Luka, Buddy Hield, Durant, Naz Reid, and Evan Mobley. So I'm happy with what my team's looking like. At least I like them.
I love that you sit like you're the perfect GM by mispronouncing Shingun's
name.
Like I don't even know him anymore. He's not even on the roster. He's gone.
He means nothing to me now. That was
Anyway,
a terrible
sorry,
day. Giannis is out.
Oh, he's out.
See what I mean? My disastrous week, it just continues. That's a nightmare for me in fantasy. He was supposed to play this morning. Giannis is now out. So I thought, while we're still here, while we're still in the living, what are our worst nightmares when it comes to sport? You can have 1, 2, or 3. All right, but while you're still around, what are your nightmares when it comes to the sport? Can I start? I want to start with my first nightmare would be if I'm a huge LeBron fan, and if he doesn't win another title, and I don't think he's going to, but if he doesn't win another title, that is a huge nightmare for me. Because the conversation, it pretty much ends if he can win a 5th one at this age. He's the greatest of all time. But we can still have the conversation if he doesn't win. My other nightmare is I don't get to see him play one final time before he retires.
Bo, we got to get there this season then, man. We just don't know what is on the cards. He's at that age.
He's 40 in December.
Yeah.
We
got to get to a Lakers game, boys. It's all like this is Brook's dream. We need to do some crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Hey, we do whatever we need to get there.
We got to get
Someone get the boys over there, eh?
Yeah.
I would love to see Bron play one more time. That's a nightmare not seeing him play one more time before he retires.
All right, well, I'll go next with a sporting nightmare that I would hate to see happen, and I'm going to keep on the LeBron James theme. I would hate to see the league deciding LeBron having to retire, and we've just talked about this with Shaun earlier on in the show. that he just drops off so badly and
Oh,
still
I
tries to
hear
play
you.
one extra season.
I hear you.
That would be the worst nightmare for a guy who's been able to do everything and anything, including play with his son on an NBA court. I would hate that. The biggest nightmare for me would be, guys, can someone tell LeBron he needs to retire? He's no longer collecting stats. Like, that to me would be horrible and a terrible way to end his career.
He averages 7, 2, and 2, and he's just trying to scrape out another year. Oh,
yeah.
Mark, that's a good one.
Yeah,
That is a good one.
Sean, what's a sporting nightmare?
Oh, I've got a feeling I could be cancelled after saying mine team, and it's going to be a very unpopular decision, but I don't care because it's the honest truth, right? So, boys, my worst nightmare would be if the Warriors won the premiership next year. Now, hear me out on this. Hear me out on this. You know how much and how badly I've wanted to win one, and I've tried my hardest, and then the very first year I'm not there, they go and do it.
Bro, the veins in your head are popping out. I believe you.
Bro, and is that so bad? Now, don't get me wrong. Just give me 1 year. Give me 1 year out of retirement, then go win 4 of them suckers back to back and finishes with 8 in his life. Like, wow. Like,
Bro,
but
because
give
we
me
pointing
1
the
year out of
finger.
retirement. So people just like, I don't just feel like maybe I was the guy holding them back the whole time. You know, like, come on, bro.
No,
Like,
Sean, I feel you. I feel, and I resonate on that as field MC. If this was the first season I wasn't doing it and they won, and there was someone emceeing a
that's
grand
some
final,
big ass FOMO, eh?
Wow.
Holy.
I'd hate that.
Oh, but that's kind of funny because I don't get to see the Warriors win their first title.
No, that's
one
your
of mine.
nightmare.
That was one of mine. That was one of mine as well. I also had in the same year the Blues and Auckland FC won a championship. That just can't happen to me. That is an absolute nightmare that I will never hear the end of, and I can't have that. I can't have that.
All right. Well, I want to add. I want to add to the
go off
to the nightmares. It would be my worst nightmare to see Ireland win a Rugby World Cup, because that is the one thing.
Ones, Mark.
This is the one thing that we've always, and it's fitting that we get to play Ireland this Saturday morning. And it's the one thing that we can hold on to. Now, I love the Irish supporters. I actually really enjoy the Irish rugby team as well. I've never had a problem with them, but man, haven't they got so big? Haven't they got so great in the last, say, 5 years? They've been sitting in that number 1 slot. Now it's them in South Africa that kind of tussle between 1 and 2. We sit patiently back in 3, 4, or 5. Like, it's been tough. It's been a tough road for All Blacks fans, but for the Ireland to win a Rugby World Cup, man,
Yeah, that would hurt.
Rico can't talk then. Like, you know,
I'd rather South Africa win a third.
Yeah, that's it.
Sean, I actually don't want to hear any more of your nightmares because that one hurt enough. You just saying that just before.
Oh,
So
man. I'm actually, I wholeheartedly, I'm not backtracking on that one bit. So, yeah, that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare for me. Like, really is. But after 1 year, go hard. Win as many as you want, boys. Love it up the wires.
Play on in partnership with BNZ. Play on.
All right, time now for the Heineken Silver Prize Vault. This is where we go to the community who's supporting us and we give them a bespoke prize. Now, we won't know what that prize is but Brook does have the prize vault in front of him, which he always has massive trouble trying to open. So while he's trying to open it, I want to congratulate Phoenix Ruka. Now, Phoenix wrote on our post around when we were talking about
Mark.
who was the biggest
you
fighter.
Keep padding there, brother.
Struggling with the suitcase. Yeah, I've taught you how to open it. You just pull it to the side. Just push the things to the side. Don't twist it.
I've twisted.
Push. Oh, you've twisted it. Okay, I'll be around to help you in a sec. So when you guys went around the Kiwis training and you were talking about who it was that was who was more likely to win in a fight between you two, Shaun and Brook. Goodness, this is embarrassing. Pass it to me. Pass it to me. Pass it to me. Pass it.
That's Brooks' dumb question.
You do not need to turn it. You just push like that. Now I'm going to close them again like a dad, and I'm
What
going
in
to
the
get you.
1934 is this box?
It is literally a prize vault. Now you can open it probably. Sorry, Shaun,
Mark, I didn't actually see
wasting
you
your
do
time where you could be training. So yes, this was the video. The comment on there was by Phoenix, who said, "If Fisher Harris speaks, it will be so." A great comment as to who he thought would win in a fight. And well, who did Fish say? Who would be the better of the you two in an octagon?
Well, Fish, he didn't stutter his words at all, but a couple of them did. You know, a couple of them went, ooh, okay, yeah, it'll be Shaun. Fish, Shaun.
The general consensus was that, Shaun, you would hold up better out of an octagon between you and Brook. So
Those arms were bigger than my thighs.
congratulations to Phoenix Uruka. You have won
Can I open
inside the
What is
Heineken
that?
Silver Prize Vault. We have...
Oh, that is... Oh, it's signed? That's a Giannis?
That
Got
is
a
a
signed Giannis shoe.
Antetokounmpo.
My number one draft pick
Yes.
that isn't playing for me in fantasy, but he is showing up for you, is a signed Giannis shoe. I'm going to bring it up closer. That's dope.
Okay,
Yeah,
now he's working
man.
out how to do a camera. There we go. It's signed by Giannis. As we say, thank you so much to Heineken Silver. This gives us the ability to give everybody who writes, who makes a comment, who
That's so cool.
sends a message, we can hook you guys up with some pretty bespoke prizes, things that you can put on the mantelpiece and go, oh, that little bit of it. Yeah, that's Giannis. That's the Greek freak. That's a signed
Wow, this is
shoe
brand
of
new.
his.
What size is that?
I
11?
think people who are receiving these prizes should be more proud that it was from Play On Sports Show, baby.
Nemo.
Look at that.
Look at that. That's dope. That is a dope gift.
Play On in partnership with BNZ. Play On.
Hold on, Mark. Let me go.
Shaun, you're going to have to wait.
That's a mean sound. My jaw's tingling.
You're going to have to wait because it is time for our Heineken Silver weekend sports menu, presented with a Heineken Silver low carb refresher. And this week, gentlemen, I will go through exactly what you could be dining on in your sporting weekend, starting with the entrees. And we have an AFC North showdown in the NFL, Friday 2:15, the Bengals taking on the Ravens. Or perhaps I could tempt you to some A-League footy. Sunday 6 p.m, we've got the Wellington Phoenix trying to bounce back after Auckland FC bounced on them.
Whoa.
Central Coast Mariners. And Auckland FC actually has the bye. But yeah, Sunday 6 p.m, for your entree, you could choose the Knicks taking on the Central Coast Mariners.
What you doing, Shawnee?
I'm gonna go Bengals Ravens. I need Jamar Chase to bounce back in a big way. So I'll be watching that with interest.
I'm going to go there next game. I don't know what's happened to me. All of a sudden, I like football. I'm watching the A-League. Shout out to the Knicks and Auckland FC as well, but I'm going to watch that.
All right, then let's move on to the main course and plenty to dine on in here. International Rugby League starting, let's get into the Sunday, 3:50 p.m. Kiwi Ferns taking on the Jillaroos in the Pacific Cup Championship finals for the women. Or perhaps you may be tempted to watch the men's final, which is Sunday, 6 p.m. Kangaroos taking on Tonga. Or it seems that they've been set up as the main game because it's Sunday, 8:20 p.m. Kiwis taking on Papua New Guinea. That's in your International Rugby League.
Wait, what? What's going on there? They curtain raising for you guys?
The Kangaroos and Tonga game is
Hell
actually
yes,
before.
that's still the final.
Yeah.
Nice job,
yeah.
Shaun.
It's still so backwards, isn't it? It's just so backwards. They're going to be doing their celebrations, and we've got to come out and play a game after. Do the math.
Or you could be tempted by international rugby. We have been talking about it. 9:10 on Saturday morning. All Blacks taking on Ireland. And Monday, 2 a.m, we've got the New Zealand 15, or the All Blacks 15, taking on Georgia.
Shawnee, I'll take care of international rugby just because you've got prior commitments that you need to uphold. So you take care of the rugby league, I'll take care of the union.
Love that.
I got you, my boy.
And finally, in desserts for your weekend sports menu, brought to you by Heineken Silver. NBL. We're talking about the Breakers earlier on in the show. Saturday, 7:30 p.m, Tasmania Jack Jumpers taking on the Breakers. Or if you've enjoyed what you've seen out of the Black Caps, their cricket Sunday, 2:30 a.m, very early on Sunday morning, the Black Caps tour of Sri Lanka gets underway. The first T20 out of 2, and then they move into 3 ODIs in Sri Lanka. The Black Caps.
How many games are they playing?
I know,
I
they're just
know,
going
man.
and going and going. Or might I tempt you with a little bit of EPL? Monday, 5:30 a.m, it's the big London derby. Chelsea taking on Arsenal.
Man, does that mean he's a bit loaded? I'm going to go Breakers, Jack Jumpers. Yeah, I'm on that Breakers train at the moment.
I'm a Man U supporter, so I'm going to go with that cricket.
I love it. Hey, whatever it is you choose to dine on in your sport this weekend, we hope you enjoy it. Of course, presented to you by Heineken Silver. Shaun, all the very best, man. Like, I know that this one's a tough one to get up for, but this will be your last foray in the Kiwis jumper. Again, as Kiwi fans, on behalf, we salute you. Thank you so much for your service, but good luck.
Yeah, thanks, boys. We're on one last game. last game is finished with a bang.
Hey, good luck on this round of golf that you're rushing out to get to too. Remember,
Oh,
Is
right.
that what
Thanks
you're
for that,
rushing
boys.
for? Is
On
that
the
what you're
ball.
Wow.
You know, don't think about your last shot. Think about your next shot.
Shooter.
Swing through. He's halfway out the door, Marc.
Indeed.
Play on in partnership with BNZ.
Look out the speed! Shaun Johnson! Aguero! It's over! Pass is intercepted at the goal line. In your life have you seen anything like that?